This podcast features intuitive, psychic, and spiritual impressions provided for entertainment and personal development purposes. Nothing in this episode should be considered medical, psychological, legal, or financial advice. The host is not a licensed professional. All guests participate voluntarily and understand that personal stories or emotions may naturally arise. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Sael Podcast. My name is Farah. I'm a psychic medium and channel, and in this podcast, I channel healing energy and guide guests on journeys that serve their highest good. With every episode, we embark on a new teaching, new realizations, new ideas, inspiration to guide your own being from within with every step you take, including while listening to each podcast episode. For every human being is unique and individual, and teachings may arise that may or may not apply to all beings, and they may not apply to the guests themselves in every moment of their lives, except for the moment in which it is shared. So I invite you to join and to listen with discernment, guided with your own inner knowing, to take on what resonates and discard the rest. Today's guest is Shayana, Reiki master, yoga teacher, Qigong practitioner, student of Kabbalah and integral yoga. Though I believe none of these practices or guiding principles define the person, the soul, the being that she is and that she transmits. On paper, her story begins in New York, in finance. In truth, it begins much further back, in the lineage of women who read cards, worked with plants, and carried the thread of the sacred quietly through generations. In this conversation, Shayana and I go deep. We talk about what it means to leave behind the life you built to find the one you are living and meant for. We explore the difference between feelings and emotions, between healing and masking, between power that comes from ego and power that lives through love. And somewhere in the middle of it all, her grandmother visits, offers a gift neither of us expected. This episode is for anyone who has ever felt that their sensitivity is too much, their path too unconventional, or their inner knowing too hard to explain. It is also for anyone who is in the middle of becoming, who is seeking spiritual sovereignty, and needs a reminder that what looks like unraveling is often initiation. I invite you to settle in, take a breath, and enjoy. And as always, listen with your own discernment and your own sovereignty as the filter. Shayana, welcome to the Sael Podcast. I'm so honored to be here with you today and so grateful to connect and to share of what flows for us, for whoever comes across the path and whoever is listening to the episode right now. So if you are listening, I hope you tune in with an open heart and share into the energy that we channel. Shayana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Shayana. I'm very grateful to be here and thank you so much for having me. So over the past 20 years of my life, it feels like I've been having like 3 different type of lives. I started as a software consultant in New York City with a background in finance and math and business. And at some point in my life, I started to question what is the meaning of life. I had accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish or I was dreaming of when I was a young adult, like the career, the money, the apartment in Manhattan. And at some point, I started questioning, I'm still not satisfied. It pushed me to go deeper within myself and I started to look inward and I encountered plant ceremonies, but not only. I went towards yoga and Kabbalah. And then this path took me to Mexico and then India, where I spent the last 7 years of my life. And I've studied integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. I've also studied Chinese medicine and Reiki and sound, where I got trained in Auroville, India. It's a wonderful place where it's like a big university for alternative medicine and alternative healing. And I went there. I was living there and volunteering there. And then in 2024, I decided to come back to Europe, and I've been in Europe since then. Now, in terms of what I do, I don't do anything really. You know, like it's like if you ask like someone is coming with a problem and like you're just like going into your toolbox and you're like, okay, I can use that, use that, use that, use that. But technically, I am certified Reiki master. I'm a certified yoga teacher. I teach Qigong. I give Taoist belly massage and face gua sha. So all based on Chinese medicine and techniques of meridians and acupuncture. So I work with a holistic system of the body, soul, and mind. And I help people get to know themselves. So we call it gnosis. Gnosis is, so it can be different things. Mostly it's knowing yourself enough and knowing yourself well to get as well direct experience of the divine within you. So I facilitate and guide people along the journey.
Thank you for sharing this and for putting also the context. Why healing modalities that are alternative? What was your first encounter with that? Is that something you grew up with, or did you seek it out?
Okay, my grandmother was my great grandmother was a tarot master in Algeria, and I grew up with stories of her like giving cards and reading to people. And then my grandmother, who's from my mom's side, who's from Morocco, was a lot into herbs and plants and like teaching me like, oh, you can use this plant for like bellyache and you can use that. And it's a tradition, I think, that we've got passed down from like generation to generation. You know, like when you're a teenager or a young adult, you're like, oh, bullshit, this is nothing. And then in 2012, I had a very, very, I had surgery. I had a cyst in my liver and I had a liver surgery and I spent like 1 month in the hospital and I had to reflect a lot about like the medicine that they were giving me, like the blood test, all the medicinal compound. I was in the US at the time and it's great. It saved my life. But then I learned that the cyst was because I was taking a specific type of birth control. So from that moment on, I decided to stop taking any medicine and decided to look deeper into like why I get sick and how can I heal myself from a point that is more multidimensional. And how like what I feel in my physical body is not necessarily like it's only symptoms and maybe there is something more. So just to give you an example now, I've been sick for the past few days and like I didn't take any medicine and it put me into a trance state where like I could feel my body going through the motion and going through the different fight and the different like healing process, but also I could feel that what was attacking me and what was like what was causing this. And from that, like I meditated a lot and I still didn't take any medicine, but like, you know, the body heals itself and it gets stronger while it heals itself and I was witnessing and being in the process of healing from my whole self, not just like popping a pill and ignoring the symptoms and being like, okay, I can go on with my day, but I was really deep in the process, also cleaning up what needed to be cleaned up, emotions, fears, anything that was coming up. So in that sense, I feel like alternative medicine are helpful in a way. Like I'm not gonna not recommend to go to the doctor if it's something very serious. But yeah, it's helpful because it looks at the whole being, not only just like physical symptoms, but also like what happens emotionally, what happens mentally, what are the past patterns that someone had that can cause like this problem to reoccur. And also, like, I mean, in the case of Ayurveda or Chinese medicine, it's been a medicine that's been going on for thousands of years, longer than like Western medicine, and it's been proven to cure people. I mean, there is a combination of Eastern medicine and Western medicine is very important in different cases, but more into like the slow, natural process of healing for the higher benefit.
Yeah. When you were describing that, by the way, I want to tell you before I go into the description on this topic, but I do see your grandma, the grandma that you're describing, the tarot card. I do see her behind you on your this side. So that's your
Yes.
left shoulder. Your left shoulder. And she's showing me, first I see black hair. I don't know if it's braided, but I do see that what's the distinction that she's making, it's in two sides. I don't know why it's in two sides. I don't know if it's two braids in two sides, but like black hair. It's not too long, but it's not short either. What's her name? Because I'm hearing like something.
The grandmother is Aviva.
She's showing, oh, interesting. Because I'm saying, like, I'm hearing the A name. I don't know if it's your grandma or great grandma. We can ask her. I think it's your direct grandmother.
Yeah, so Aviva is.
She's showing this like bowl that has like this medicinal green drink in it. It's like something passed down. I don't know if that's like a traditional drink that you've had growing up or something that's passed on. Maybe ask your aunts. I don't know if your mom would know. Something tells me ask your aunt. Do you have an aunt?
Yeah, I have many aunts.
Okay, well, ask your aunts what this drink is. It's green. I know it's green. I see her tapping your shoulder, which is so sweet. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, there's more. I'm seeing a book, like reading a book. It's like some sort of like sacred book. And she's showing me you're in it. That's sweet.
Good.
I don't know what this means to you, and I don't know what that means, but
I don't know either, but I guess we'll figure.
You can ask her, by all means. I mean, you can ask her if you want to, obviously. Like, you don't want to share this here.
Yes, why not? Ask her.
She says you'll know, and there's like a male figure. You'll know. She says ask her. Okay, well.
Ask me?
Yeah. You can ask her if you want.
Yeah, I would like to ask her. Yes.
A child. Yeah. It's a child.
It's a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a book.
I think what she meant by that, it's written in the book.
That
means something to you. It's written in the book, or I don't know, there's something about like I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we can ask for further clarification.
Yeah, let's ask for further clarification. What does she mean?
Did your father write anything?
No, but I am writing things. I am applying to a PhD and like planning to write like things, but no, my father didn't write anything.
Okay. Huh. Would your father have written about you in a story?
No, like my father.
Was she your dad's mom?
Huh?
Was she your father's mom, or
No, my mom's mom.
your mother's mom?
I mean, yeah, but I'm curious.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. We see the book. She's showing the book. It's some sort of like sacred book. It's giving like Bible, Quran.
Yeah, Torah.
Yeah. And the child. And then your father.
Could the child be me?
She nailed it, she says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
like old like memories of me going to synagogue with my dad when I was a kid.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, go on. I think there's something there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm a little shy to talk about this.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, like I used to go to synagogue every Saturday with my dad, and
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's stop there. Do you still do that?
No.
Is he still doing that?
Yes.
Well, there's something about connecting. Like, I'm still seeing the book now.
Maybe
that's... Yeah.
Connecting with the Torah?
No, she's asking what do you want to connect with if you're not connecting. Interesting.
What do I want to connect with if I'm not connecting to what?
To the synagogue. Maybe it's about your connection, your communion that had to do with your father and the synagogue.
I am connecting with my inner self and like spirituality and other realms.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what we need to share now. Yeah.
Yes.
It's sweet. Thank you. So she gave you a wand in a way today.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think you're meant to share more about this.
About spirituality?
Finding your path away from what you grew up with, maybe,
okay.
Or however you would describe that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from where I grew up, that's quite intimate and personal.
Yeah. And I also want to, it's hard for me. I'd like a new mantra I've tried to call, if you see it, you have to say it. And sometimes I shy away and I'm like, I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. I also see you're putting a crown on your head.
Oh, so how did I? Okay, so I grew up with a quite conservative family, Jewish family, where like I went to religious school and we had like a lot of hours of religious study by day. And to be honest, I loved it and I still love the religious studies. I am planning to do a PhD in esotericism and religious studies, so which is quite fitting. But yeah, at some point, like I realized that what people, men, have made of the religion was not something that was fitting me as a woman. And from my deep down, like very strong like connection to spirituality and to God, like I couldn't like find my place in an organized religion. And I love Judaism. It's like I really love it, but like as a woman in France, I was not able to find my place. I mean, the US is a little bit easier for women, but then again, in Orthodox or modern Orthodox tradition, it's quite complicated for women. And so I decided to go with finding my inner self and finding my inner connection to the divine, my own connection to the divine without needing any rabbi or priest or imam. You go and you just look for God within yourself. And through this process, that's also why I went to India and why I started meditating and I started studying Kabbalah. And in the Kabbalistic process with my teacher, we have a whole framework of finding one's soul and what in integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo and Mother they call the psychic being. And that took me almost 7-8 years to do that. To kind of like connect with my inner self, like feel my soul and feel like what is really me or not me, what is like what society or education or patterns have told me like that I should like or not like or really be with. And it took me a while to like remove the layers. It's like peeling an onion. You just remove one layer and after another to get to the core of like who you are, like the truth of your soul, of who are you. And that got me back to when I was a kid, what I loved to do when I was a kid, which was reading books and talking about God and being in this divinity, making life a real like play of the divine rather than just a mundane action. You just make everything like a play, everything has a purpose. And I was telling you I was sick, and that's that's what I was telling my friend earlier. Like it's like for me, I was sick, but it was like an initiation, it was like we are going from the year of the snake to the year of the horse. And it was like the snake skin was falling down off me. And I was emerging like as a new person, and I'm still emerging as a new person through this sickness. So that's kind of like the processes and how my life has been for the past like 5-6 years now. I see it in a different dimensional level. Everything is not just what it is, it's more. And sometimes it's mental stories, but it's also imagination. Imagination in Chinese medicine is one of the principles. If you can imagine it, it can happen and it's real. When you do Qigong, you imagine that you're moving the energy, and that's a really important principle because it's happening. So reconnecting with my imagination and making life like this made it much more sacred and much more beautiful than what I had before.
Thank you. What I just saw now was such a like closure. It was really beautiful to witness your grandma. I think she was intentionally guiding you to make peace with that childhood and to remind you that you are meant to write your own script book. And that's the PhD thesis or whatever book that you're writing. You are meant to be, a scholar. And when you were describing the upbringing, I kept seeing she had those like olive branches. And I wanted to ask you what that symbolizes, but my assumption it's some sort of making peace with the past. And then she braided it into a neck, wear it on you. I think you standing in your light and owning that part of yourself, that scholarly research and that work, and weaving it in your own right is like, it's almost like there's a rite of passage that you're going through now to initiation, like you called it, to, embark on that and like share its light so wide. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Thanks for sharing that moment.
Thank
And
you.
I honor um, I honor Aviva for initiating, I think, both of us with this. Beautiful. Thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, now we can move on. Not everyone is interested in the things that you find yourself like genuinely curious about. And when life guides you to those kinds of work, there's a reason for it. Because when you bring it up, we relate to it more. I find it more relatable because I find you more relatable to me. And then that makes it more approachable. So the wisdom that flows through these teachings is not lost, doesn't get stuck with the elders that have mastered it. It's now still getting passed down through people like you that share it with people who relate to them. That's you,
What
that's reading you. That's your imprint. This is where you go. We need you to do that.
to go to scholarly work?
To keep researching all the things that you're curious about and make it digestible and go practice it, like go live it. Because when you live it and other people like me or whoever's watching this sees that and you witnesses it, you make it more approachable. You bring
Yeah.
it a lot closer. You're basically like a bridge between things that have been passed on for generations that are no longer finding a lot of room in the midst of all the chaos and the noise and the distractions that our society has created to blind us from truth. And your role is important because we need you to bridge it so that it doesn't get stuck in the past.
Yeah,
So thank
and
you
thank you.
and keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important for me, and it's been important, like, like the commercial aspect. Like I've tried for like the past, I don't know, since 2018, I got certified as a yoga teacher and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the next yoga teacher, and I'm gonna do like business, and I'm gonna have lots of clients and stuff. And I realized, like, in January, this never has been me. I've never been a business person, It's like I'm good at business because naturally, like, I am, well, I'm Jewish, but not only, that's not only. My mom is a business person. And so I'm good at business. To get me to do that is, I hate it. I don't like it. And I got to a point where I'm like, yeah, well, I've been trying to be someone I'm not. I've been trying to do business and to be another coach and another person, but like, it's not me at all. Like, I like to research and to come up with ideas and to like read and like, and my brain is like mixing and like boiling everything down and then coming up with new things. And that's what I love to do. And then my friend was suggesting like, oh, you should do a PhD. And then I found this PhD in Amsterdam. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to do that. And since then, I kid you not, like I've been struggling for 5-6 years now. And since then, like everything just went so fast. Like since I decided to do this PhD, I've met almost all the professors. I went to a class. I succeeded in my class. I'm registering to another class. And then the money just appeared. Like, it's like, when you're on the right path, like everything just like, it's been like a crazy journey, 2 months.
I love that you bring this up because life wants us to be doing what we're optimally here to do. And
Yeah.
so when we take the first step, life is like, oh, bless, give it all, and that's, I think, what people call beginner's luck. And then once you've had that level of confidence, then you have to take the next step on your own, maybe with a different kind of support. But it's really important to push through because I don't know why I'm saying this, but I do think it's important to reflect on. It's going to be very fast and flowy in the beginning, and you're going to feel so supported when you take the first step towards that authentic truth that is your power, that is your right, that is your purpose, that is your shine, and just the bliss. And then it's going to get a little bit more human, more realistic, and you have to now be the person that's healing. Obviously, life will always support our partnership with it, but I don't know. I'm saying that I think it's important to remember and to remind whoever's listening and ourselves.
Yeah, it's important to also like understand that life tests you, that you really want it. So it supports you to go to the direction of your dream, but then like you'll get presented with challenges to really test you on like, do you still want it? If it's hard, like, do you still want it? Like, I see the past few days I was sick and I had like this essay to give back, and I'm like, I'm sick, I'll just do it. And I did it. Yeah, you're getting tested and tested. How much do you want it? And until, it reminds me of the story of Job. I don't know if you know the story of Job.
I'm starting to now see 2 white figures around you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're angels, but something tells me to ask about the top right corner picture on the wall behind you, because I think it connects
This one?
the other one.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, what's that?
This is, so those are called Jofra cards. Jofra is a surrealistic painter. and he made cards on astrological signs. So this one here is Libra, and it's in the tradition I come from, it's focus and distribution. So Libra is the card of, if you see it, do you want me to bring it down?
You can if you'd like. People can see it. Thank you.
So basically, you see, you have Thoth here and Isis, and it's like the scale of when you're dead, like the feather. It's different level. You can see it like as different, like there is 4 levels. So sun and moon, and then here you have the phoenixes, like sphinx, protecting the rose. The rose being the power. So in Kabbalah, Libra is called Netzach. Netzach is victory.
I think what they're pointing to the card because there's something about balance. It's like they want to ask you, how do you balance pleasure and work when it comes to embarking on, your next adventure, whether that's writing the thesis or pursuing this purpose, this strength that you've found.
Okay, how do I balance it?
Yeah.
I don't.
Or are you cultivating balance?
I love it. I've been waiting for that for so long that for me it's just only pleasure to read all those books and to learn and to write. Doing my work is only pleasure. It's really honor and a privilege to be doing that. My soul is so happy and I can see it. I can feel it like that. I had this interrogation. Am I working too much because I'm reading all this? Maybe I need some time to take a break and all this. And I'm just loving it. But it's important to keep balance with also being silly sometimes and not just about work. So I'm very careful about not burning myself also just by reading so much, but I put myself boundaries and time slot. Okay, this is the time for work. And now stop work, like you go and you have fun and you do your yoga or whatever. But then my life end up to be my work because this is what I love to do. So I can wake up in the morning and start working on like reading some books. And then I can continue until the night without even noticing that the whole day has passed. So it's a very, it's passion. It's really, really deep passion.
It's restoration and persistence, the balance between restoration and persistence. And their names relate to what you call to be pleasure and work, strength and persistence, pausing and doing. I don't know if they have human names. I think you can ask them if they want to be named certain things by you, but I don't think that's the point. The purpose of them showing up and pointing to that image is restoring balance. And I loved your response. And I think we need to dig a little bit more because in your response, there is a lot of passion. There is a lot of pent up energy that's like, this is what I need to be doing. And this is what I'm born to be doing. And nothing will stop me and I won't stop. What fuels the passion? What comes up now actually is like when you do that thing, when you pursue the passion, it's God's like power that really is flowing through you. There's that. And then there's also the ego, the human like power. And those are the two that need to be balanced. Where do you see that in your life? And we're pursuing our passion and living that, that energy of flow. How can one's egotistical needs, desires, and ways kind of get in the way or make you go overboard or speed faster or maybe less?
I mean, first of all, you need to understand your ego and love it because it's here to protect you sometimes.
Check. That was it. Okay.
Yes. When you're hungry, for example, and you're so deep into your reading and you're like, oh, I'll eat later, or like, all this kind of thing, like to make you burn out, like because you're human and you're not an angel. You cannot sustain yourself. You have to understand like what your body needs as a physical body and honor that. And your ego most of the time is really happy to like do all this work, but it's also here to make sure that you're not burning out yourself and you're balancing every part of life because it's very easy to get lost into the passion and get burnt out. But it's really important to make sure that everything is at its proper place. And that comes with discernment. And discernment is a very important quality. And it's a quality that comes from Virgo, we call, but that comes from knowing exactly what you need as a physical being, what emotionally you need, what like mentally you need, what spiritually you need, and really making space and making time for all of this.
By the way, I realized the white beings, you can call them Adam and Eve. It's Adam and Eve, it's the masculine and feminine, it's the
Okay.
balance between the two energies that we're required to know and to cultivate so that this massive flow has space. Because sometimes if you are in one and not the other, there is no flow, there is no unity. And I didn't know this actually. This is interesting that it's coming up, but we are required to integrate both the Adam and Eve within us.
Yeah, so I call it being and doing. So like you have the being, so in shamanism, they have the known, the unknown, and the unknowable. So you have this trinity, and same with being and doing, and being in the middle, in between. So being, becoming, and doing, like you have this always this trinity of things where you actually need to be into what you do. But like being doesn't mean that you're passive and not doing anything. It just means like you are in the action of doing. And that is very important to remind oneself that even doing divinity and making like purpose doesn't happen only in meditation. It's also something that once you are doing the action, you are fully in the action. You're not thinking about what you're going to eat, but you are doing this. You are the action. I had this singing teacher that told me that you are the pen, you are the sound, you are the thing that you are doing, because you cannot dissociate yourself from the thing you're doing. So when I write my paper or when I sing, I am what I am doing, and I'm infusing from like the unknowable, like the soul, the divinity that transcend me to the action. And this is the purpose of men, men have so much power, we have so much potential of changing things in the heavens and on earth, but we are not aware of it. If we just are giving ourselves as instrument of the divine and be like, okay, whatever I'm doing, this is for the highest good, you can actually be in that consciousness at all time and be the action and help the world to become a better place. So there is this Kabbalistic principle called Tikkun Olam, which is like, it's making the world a better place. Technically, it's buying back the world. We're helping it to elevate. We're like, by our own action, each individual action, you're helping the world to get like more light inside of it, more like more kindness, more compassion, more love. And this is the whole principle is love. That you have, this is funny because this card in the Merkaba tradition is actually one of the love. So the love is represented as a vortex, like a force, a power that like takes you and like turns you, but you need not only love, like some people say, oh, love is everything, but you need love, you need light, you need power, you need action, and you need all of it to be infused with spirit and to come to matter, and vice versa. Like from matter, elevate that to to the heaven, and like this, you can have a wholeness of your action.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And that put it exactly to the right words. So being and doing are those two anchors that are the fuel for you merging with the action, for God's energy or that divine energy to have its impact in a much, I don't want to say grander. It's not more or less than you. It's just one with you. It's like you're part of it now, and it expresses through your actions in that oneness. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, humans are the only species that is capable of making choices. So we always have the choice of like going down or going up. I mean, it is a direction, but going into darker realms or lighter realms. And there is a balance in the world that makes everything counterbalance, hence the Libra card. So you have light and dark, and you can decide where you want to go, but also there is this concept that once you decide that you want to go to the light, you can, everything you've done that's dark can also be turned to the light and bring your whole self to the light. And that's a Kabbalistic principle. The concept of teshuvah, it's the return. When you return sincerely with your whole heart and you're not doing it again, let's say gossiping, for example. Gossiping is very tough for someone like me because I feel that the tongue is something for creation. It's something that when we speak, we create. So as you gossip, you actually create situations that are nefast for you, for the people that you're talking about. Once you decide you're not gossiping anymore, all that you've gossiped, you can bring those negative entities that you've created to a lighter realm to help you on the path. I have this protocol that I do where I ask the divine light to clean, purify, transform, and heal, like the the memory, whatever is the memory. Let's say I'm working on feeling angry or feeling upset, like memory of feeling angry about a specific situation from the root of the memory until now. And like it helps me to bring all those entities, all those past trauma and clean them up, transform and heal them and lift me up to the light.
I love that. It's essentially a prayer.
Basically, you start with acknowledging that you're feeling a certain way or you're doing a certain thing, but you acknowledge it in your body. So you're priming in your body and you're feeling where it is that it's stuck, you know. And once you have this feeling, I write it down, and then I go through the Ho'oponopono, where like I am sorry, but I am sorry to the person, I am sorry to myself, and I am sorry also to the divine and to the whole world. I am sorry, then please forgive me, and I forgive myself first, and then I forgive whoever is implied. I forgive like also the feeling, emotion. I forgive them for being there because mostly like it's emotion are external entities, so they come to you because you have this openness to receive it. The way I see it is that you have these entities that are lingering around, and you can really see it, you know, in ancient Greece or ancient Rome. They really had this perception where it was these beings that were taking your soul in early Christian times, you know. They were going inside of you and they were possessing you, and that's why you get angry or you get mad. You can see them as external thing because it's not feelings. There is a difference between emotion and feeling. Feeling come from inside, you know, it's something that emerge from you. And an emotion is basically, if you take, it's an external motion. It's something that comes at you. When you feel sad, for example, no, you say you have a dark cloud over your head, but this is actually true. Like you really have something that is attached to you. And maybe because you felt something in your heart, there was this opening in your aura that kind of created this tear that allowed this emotion to enter and attach itself to you, and they're feeding out of your energy. And the more you are sad, the more you feel this motion. It's a vicious cycle, you know, like you get sad, you get attached, then you get more sad, then it's tougher and tougher to get out of it. But it's not impossible. By doing work, usually we mask it. You know, it's not something we really go deep into the root of extraction of this entity. We really go into like, oh no, now I'm feeling better, and we bury it down, and it creates more and more, you know, like next time you get triggered by something, again, this is gonna open and this is gonna have more power. While we need to now understand in this day and age that we need to go to the root and extract those emotions and build armor of our aura. Like an armor that actually sees the emotion coming at you, because there is a way to see the emotion coming at you and block it before it comes. Be like, okay, I see you, I appreciate you, I love you, I know you're teaching me something, but maybe that's not necessary right now. So like, through the protocol, we actually get to that point where little by little, like we clean up layers of those feelings, emotion, and then creating like a more whole aura with like less tear.
I want to emphasize the distinction, and you touched on it earlier a little bit. There's the feeling that is a response internally, and that's natural. We all have responses to circumstances or situations or people. And when we don't fully process it, it gets stuck. And the resonance of that with those emotions, aka what you're describing as entities, is what creates the attraction. So what I have found in my own process is I'm feeling this stronger presence. And I think the important thing here is you have to know what you are to be able to distinct what you are not. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to make that distinction between, is this an entity or am I having an emotional response, a feeling to a situation? And what I have found to be helpful is to personify the emotion. And maybe that's how you call it an entity. But if it had a name, you ask it, what's your story? And if your imagination, it could be your imagination, it could be you're very intuitive and you're actually sensing something. If it tells you a story, it might have nothing to do with your life, but the feeling resonates with something that's already inside. And the way I always describe it, it's like Velcro. Like if it came to you, it's because part of you is holding onto something that resonates with it. Otherwise, it's like physics, for me, the way I translate it is like attracts like. It came here to teach me something. So I always ask, like, what are you here to teach me?
Yeah.
As soon as I get the lesson, I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
thing.
It's very important to go through, and the same, like, like when you get sick, like that's the same thing, what happened, like something like a bacteria got into you. People call it bacteria, virus. I call it an entity, like it's like something gets into you, but it gets into you because it's here because you need it. Like basically if we start seeing life as that, okay, this got into me because I need it to teach me something, like you can thank it and you can you can have a discussion with it. Exactly. You can have a discussion with it, like what you're here to teach me and help you go to the next stage of your life.
Yeah. And also what comes up now, I think it's really, really important not to wage war with life and like go about the world fighting and being so hyper conscious and aware of what's coming my way now. What's the energy? I think that actually makes you more vulnerable because then you're afraid and then you're in a place of resistance. You think life is out there to get you. And I really don't want people to take the message that, we're under attack. You're not under attack. You're very powerful. There's you and the flow of you and all these little, like a little blip, it's like a little dust. It's a little dust that somehow you either encountered. And sometimes it's not that you've attracted it, but that you've entered a space where you've come across this thing. Clearing oneself should be a habit that all of us, energetic clearing should be part of our daily ritual. When you brush your teeth, do an energy clearing. And look, I often forget to do this myself, but if I feel a little tense, like feel off, a little dense, let's say, if you feel dense, because I don't think we're dense. We're not meant to be dense, heavy energy. When we feel that, that's, I think, should be the signal. It's like, am I blocking something? Am I not allowing it to flow? Am I attracting something? Why is it here? Wash yourself over and surrender it. As simple as what you're describing in prayers, I surrender this energy and take the lesson, because if you don't get the message, the teaching, it's going to come back in a different shape or form until you get it. What I'm trying to say is, I used to be mad at when I encounter those, when I meditate, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Like, who is it now? And now I say thank you, because there's a place for this in the ecosystem. And it's a byproduct of humanity. It's what we're creating in a way. So I think compassion and forgiveness are, I would say, maybe the correction. Yeah. And as you were describing the aura and tears in our auras, I've often actually wondered about this and I never learned, but what channels now is your aura is strong when you're plugged into your divine self, the divine witness. And when you're in that place, when you're in that place of being and true strength, you're in a relaxed state, you're one with everything, and it won't bother you. You might encounter things, but you won't internalize it. You won't take it on.
Emotions are always there. You might get upset or you might get sad, but first of all, you learn how to respond to it rather than react to it. So you're not a slave of the emotion anymore. Like you understand it. So it's never disappearing. You can get mad or upset. You just learn how to feel it, understand it, and be like, let's move on. Like this taught me that, and let's move on. And it doesn't determine your whole day or your whole month. It's not something that get attached. So here's the really important word is attachment. In Buddhist attachment, it's like you don't have any attachment. You are feeling it, seeing it. Okay, I'm sad now. Like maybe you cry, maybe it's going to take 1 day or two, but then you move on. It's not defining yourself again with it. And that's a very important part. Being human is being emotional also. It's one of our dimensions. So feeling it is part of the natural order of things. But then moving on, like kids, they cry because they're sad, but then 2 minutes later, you give them a lollipop and they're super happy and they just switch like this. So it's basically becoming like this kid again. And this kid is your natural link to the divine. It's what you are basically when you're stripped of conditioning, patterns, everything that is not you. You become this kid again. You become this kid in an adult body. Sometimes I say I have Peter Pan syndrome because I don't want to grow up, but actually you become a grown up while keeping your kid's imagination, enthusiasm, love, playfulness, and yet you can still function in a world that is required to be serious. But in your own way, you're not so serious, you know? Yeah, once you are this light of kid, you can bring yourself to any situation and enlighten the place, become your own light and bring that to people.
Your teachings are like immunity. I feel like these teachings give us immunity to what we encounter. So I'm so grateful that we're having this discussion. What was coming to mind earlier, well, no, I don't need to. We have to be very mindful by being more and more present, because the more present we are, the more information we get from the reality in which we exist. And that's what switches on your light and your awareness and your ability to perceive and to be receptive. So you can make the distinction between what is you and when it's an encounter, or like you said, an attachment, and then consciously decide, do I want to keep this? Do I want to live for me? Because I think also the image that was stuck in my head, when something attaches to you and it takes over your soul, it's a very dangerous thing that we could fall into, like you said, with all sorts of different emotional states that literally take over your life. Do you think psychology today has prescribed a lot of diseases and normalized certain states of being for many people, the majority of people, unfortunately, these days? And how can people learn to distinguish between what is theirs, what is not, when is something of, let's say, medical relevance and intervention for psychology versus seeking alternative or spiritual healing?
I would not comment on psychology. Like, this is not I wouldn't dare to go there because unfortunately the tools of discovering oneself and knowing oneself is not something that is commonplace. It's mostly reserved to people that have the money, people that are also like willing to go there. It's not mainstream to say like, maybe I have schizophrenia, I have like shamanistic abilities, you know? And that's something that has been proven, like with studies, that like people that go into trance are actually like having psychosis in their brain, like
Right.
kinds of psychosis. It's very important to understand that people nowadays need this kind of anchor to reality, to material reality, because they are lacking grounding and they don't know how to handle whatever is happening to them. There is different psychologists that are helping without medicine and that are helping without prescribing any drugs, with different techniques that help people to learn about themselves. But it's an individual journey. When I left my job, I was kind of going into a psychosis. Sometimes I was paranoid, but I decided to see it as a spiritual path. And that's what saved me, because I went into like, okay, I'm feeling all this. I'm having all these thoughts. I'm hearing angels talk to me. Am I going crazy? No, I'm just spiritual. Let's just go deeper inside of it, figure out who you are, follow the path. But for someone that doesn't have this grounding or this faith, this trust in the universe or in God, or I call it the one source energy creator, that everything is going to happen well, they need to have this reassurance that they're not going mad and they're not going crazy. As a society, I feel like we've been putting people saying like anything you feel or anything you see or anything you can hear is you're crazy, it's not normal. But I feel it's really normal. Like humans are multidimensional being, if you take from the chakra system or the Kabbalistic system or the Taoist system, you have different bodies that expand to like the one. And you can get in touch with that. And when you expand, you're encountering other kind of beings that can be only vibrations, that can be angels. I mean, depending on your gifts, you can see, you can hear, you can feel, you can smell, you can taste. It's really depending to the person. It's difficult when you don't have the framework. You don't know what's happening to you, not to turn on to psychology and be like, okay, something is wrong with me, I need help. And that's really brave to do that also. Yeah, that's really,
And
really brave. It's something that people should do. But there is also another path, which is go deep into it and understand like what it is and understand yourself and learn about you and become who you are really, because what you're feeling, what you're seeing is helping you like become the newest version of yourself.
I guess it's about perspective and how you see it, right? If you see it as something uncomfortable or unnecessary or challenging, it might deter you. And by those descriptions, I mean, particularly like seeking the spiritual outcome, there are moments when it becomes dangerous, I think, if it gets dark, because God is love and God is light.
But God is also dark.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, how do I describe this? What's the truth? Light and love will always outshine darkness. And so if you choose to wear the light and be the light, whatever you encounter out there, it'll reflect truth to you. And that could be sadness, because sometimes you can see things, you shed light onto something and you see the darkness of it. But with light, when you spread the light on it, you get to see the truth and you acknowledge and you have compassion. And then you get to see the love, and that love transforms it into light. A few months ago, I wrote asking, are light and darkness two sides of the same coin? And I'll be honest, I didn't really get it until what channeled now is, yes, they are, and they can be, because when light shines upon darkness, there's the knowledge of the oneness, and that is love. And that helps in the transformation and the alchemy. And so if we consciously decide to go about, you can be both, because you are a coin, you can be both sides of the coin, right? But you have to choose, I think, every moment, every day. Am I going to shut down, and am I going to show the dark side of myself or the light side of myself?
You have to understand that God is both. God is like both the dark and the light. And everything that's dark that's happening, like coming back to the balance, everything that's dark that's happening is necessary to shine the light on it. Right now in US, it's a shit show, really, but it's necessary for them to do cleanup. Because if we don't see the dark, if we don't have that, that's exactly what you said. You're not able to move forward because it gets stuck in your subconscious and it drags you down. But once you see it, you put it out, it's very important that you put it out and you accept it. You accept it's human. It's human, all those things, the most horrible crimes are human. If you read the Bible, you read all the mythology, whether it's Hindu mythology or Greek, it's full of jealousy, perversity, rapes, because it's something that we need to acknowledge, accept, see, and transcend, It's like, it's really important and transcend and say like we see it. It's not something as a species. It's not something we want to do again. Like it's something that we are done with. Like it's not okay. And rooting these dark tendencies from
Yeah.
the DNA. What helped me a lot through my journey is to have a guide, a mentor that has been through the journey before. Not really a teacher as per se. Like, of course, they teach you things, they share knowledge and everything, but it's also like a companion on the road. It can be a friend that's going through the same thing. Someone that you like the books and you want to read, preferably someone in person. It's really important to have a companion and not feel alone, not to go deep down and dark, because it's a dangerous. I mean, spiritual journey is dangerous. It is full of things that you're going to discover that are not going to be easy, and that if you're not having the proper support is difficult to go through alone.
Yeah. What I hear also is you need someone who can really serve as I love the idea of mentorship, But what was coming up is a mirror, because you need people to mirror back to you, not necessarily to ground you, but to show you where you're at, so that if you're going too far or too low, they'll just mirror it back to you. They point it out, and you can still consciously choose how you proceed. The spiritual development being dangerous, I think we are scared to work with what we can't see because we don't have as much of control over it. And I think that's when it really, really requires self-attunement, self-regulation, and self-knowledge and clearing. Because also when we're describing, the history of humanity, and what you're describing is like where we're coming from and what's been encoded, we're not meant to be that, and we're meant to transcend. And perhaps that's why humanity has been here to evolve. Yeah, maybe it is our role to continue to evolve beyond those animalistic tendencies so that we reflect more of what is true. Because the reason we commit all these crimes is because we don't feel one. We're disconnected.
Mhm.
That's what drives people to commit all these, let's say, I know what comes to mind is so clearly is like you're self-harming, you're self-disguising when we commit all these wrongs against each other, because we're so out of touch with the reality, with the truth that we are one at the end of the day. And I just pray that this conversation pivots at least one person, ourselves included, hopefully, in a reminder, like even a tiny degree towards that direction. A lot of times we perceive seeking a spiritual path mean that you're connecting more with the divine and less with other people. And that's perhaps maybe part of the journey at some point. But I think the purpose is that it guides you towards what's here, like the heart. And that's when you discover you're one with everything. And that's God. And I hope I'm not preaching this, but the reason this is coming up is it's really important for people to know that we're not asking you to celebrate the darkness in you, and we're not trying to propagate that more, guiding people to see that your role here is to go beyond it. Because the reason that existed is because we disconnected from the reality that we are one.
We are like disconnected from from our link to the divine, that like we act like this, but accept it, embrace it, see what it taught you, and see it for what it is, because the morality of men, like nowadays, we have to understand that everyone needs to go through their own journey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I
Wonderful.
wanted to ask you about 2 more pictures. I think that's our closing point. The closing remark is going to be in those 2 points from these 2 pictures behind you. The one at the bottom, like right underneath the one that you picked up, and then the one on top.
The one here is Leo card. It's the sign of Leo. And the one on top is the Sagittarius card. What would you like to know about it?
Oh, I think you're going to close it out for us. What do you get from these? Why are they coming up?
So basically those two, this column is the left column, is the column of the feminine, and it represents the link between love and power. In the Merkaba, you have like spirit, light in the right front, love behind, power on down, and then action right front, and then matter. For me, it's very important to connect love and power, because nowadays, like most of power is disconnected from love. And it's what it says in this connection is that once you have power that comes from love, that's love that gives you the power, it's impossible to do bad things. It's impossible to be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill some people, and that's where real power comes from. The power we see today from our leaders or people, like when you're at the desk or like all the bureaucratic thing, like people have power, it's coming from a place of ego, of like, I want to impose myself on you, rather than when you have this love. So Sagittarius is in the mother's world is goodness. It's something that is good, is always bountiful, it's abundant. And then when you go to Leo is aspiration towards a divine life, aspiration towards connection to the divine. So, and that gives you the power. That's what gives you the power of like being in life and living and being your authentic self. I want to precise, I'm not talking about doing the right thing, because the right thing is a morality and is something that's dependent on society and vision of things. I'm talking about doing the thing that is true. aspiration towards the divine for truth and for freedom.
Thank you. That's a beautiful ending. And I love how the themes all weaved together to bring us to this point is shine in power and through love. I also really appreciate and I want to emphasize and acknowledge that you have a very beautiful and very subtle way of inclusive teaching, making it very inclusive to everybody, regardless of what path they are on, what they believe, where they are on their journey, and what they see and what they don't.
I mean, I do practice integral yoga, which is integral.
Yeah.
We want to include everything and everyone, and that's really important because you were saying earlier that people see spirituality as like detaching from life, but I see spirituality as actually being involved into the material realm fully with this consciousness, and that for me is very important. And again, that's different path for different people, but the path I practice and I selected is a path that is in the world and integral of everything, inclusive of everything.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shayana. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is such a beautiful, I don't know what to call it, encounter, communion, just a beautiful conversation. And I'm so grateful for everything that have emerged and honor all that came really to support our meeting today. All of the light beings and angels and guides and even little encounters that they showed up to remind us of what we're here to share and to know and to live and practice. Thank you. Would you like to share any way for anyone who's interested in connecting with you further and learning more about topics that you're exploring?
If anyone is interested in contacting me, I have a website. It's called shine.love. So SHYN.love. And I am also on Instagram as Shayana World. So the world of Shayana. You can also contact me through Farah. If you don't find me, she has my information, and I'm happy to talk to anyone, or if anyone has questions to answer, anyone that would need to have more guidance on their path. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll link both the Instagram account and your website in the show notes so you can find it there, and or reach out to either of us to further connect. Thank you again, and au revoir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining. If you wish to participate as a guest on this podcast, you can submit an interest form below in the show notes. To learn more about Sael and the intuitive guidance and coaching, I invite you to join my Substack community where I share channeled reflections, insights, and more. Join me at withsael.com. That's WITHSAEL.com. I wish you sovereign being and hope to see you on the next one with light and love and healing for all. Your host and Sael.